So now I know that the Nazis completely overran Belgium. It took 18 days.
Yeah.
So on May the 28th was the last day, and the Belgian army capitulated on
well, we had to.
on the 20. Yeah, they had no choice.
There was no choice.
And I know that your king was actually taken POW, King Leopold III, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're living in your apartment with your mom, and on a day-to-day basis, did you see, were there Nazis marching around
Oh, yeah.
the streets?
Oh yeah, with
Yeah.
those shoes, those German shoes.
Yeah.
But I had taken, how old was I? Because
12 years
Oh
old.
yeah. Well, you see, I was lucky. In the schools, they kept on teaching everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you took German, you could also take English.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been good with languages, so I understood all the time. Wherever I was, I could understand what was being spoken.
Yeah.
That was a big
Advantage.
Yeah.
Now, were there any shortages, like food or water?
Oh my God! Overnight there was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. No bread. No coffee. My mother, I remember, had one of those mills where you do this.
Mm-hmm.
She found probably 17 grains of coffee and made herself a last cup of coffee. Yeah.
Wow. So how did you get food? How were you able to
we got stamps. We got stamps. Stamps, and you got a piece of bread that you had, when you sliced your bread, you had to have another knife to break it off. It was not bread.
Right.
It was a concoction of peels of vegetables, and it was horrible. Horrible. But this brought down the black market.
Mm-hmm.
And my Uncle George, because by that time she knew my Uncle George, I guess, must have done. He went on his bicycle to get food. See, I have little memories of...
Yeah. Well, now, did your mom continue to work? Did she have a little cafe?
Well, she had to. She had to work, and she continued doing her job.
Well, the cafe was no more, or is that what she kept doing, the cafe?
Let me think.
Well, we can come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Okay, so you're 12 years old. What did you do all day? What was an average day like for you?
When I was in school?
Oh, no, just when after the occupation, what was an average day like? You just went back to school every day, right?
Yeah, I tried to go. And that I remember too, that everything became sort of normal, but with the Germans occupying.
Yeah.
And I remember that I knew that school, because it was in the summer, there was no school. But then we started having school, and I thought I need to go to school.
Yeah.
And I remember going to that school and sitting in a class, and that the kids made fun of me because I didn't wear the same uniform, and they were really, kids can be so miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was not a good memory.
Now,
and then was it the German soldiers or the British soldiers?
well, it had to have been the Nazis.
The Nazis, they must have picked me up. Oh, it's so...
Well, I was going to ask you that. Did you or your mom ever get harassed by the soldiers?
No, she became a prostitute, my mom. That was the only thing to do to
Oh,
not doing
okay,
that.
I see. Okay.
That was the only
But
thing.
they left you alone,
Oh
right?
yeah, they left me alone because I was too young.
Right.
I was far too young. But she opened a cafe with my Aunt Anne, who
Right.
eventually came to America and who I've never seen again after that. She What did I say?
Well, you had the cafe, and I asked you if it had
Oh yeah,
closed.
she had a cafe, and she was very beautiful, my mom. I mean, without a doubt, a beautiful. Well, you see it. You see my
There's a
mom
picture
on the
of out
wall.
there?
Yeah,
Okay.
It was a beautiful woman. But she had to do what she had to
So
do.
she became a prostitute after the Nazi occupation. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And she collaborated with the Nazis,
Oh.
and she collaborated with the others.
Uh-huh.
She had, because she was, my aunt opened a tavern, a tavern now I realize was something where there were bedrooms upstairs.
Right, like a whorehouse.
Like a whorehouse.
All right, now let's talk about what I think is the most interesting part of this is you actually hid a Jewish family.
Oh yeah, we.
So let's talk about
that's
that.
my mother there in that. Oh, that yeah. Now that I remember, she worked in that. It was not a whorehouse,
Tavern.
really.
Tavern.
Yeah, it was called a tavern.
Mm-hmm.
So she worked there, and she got to know a Jewish woman.
Well, didn't they live down the street from you?
Yeah, they
Okay.
lived down the street,
Uh-huh.
and she gave my mom, or the place there, gave her a job too.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and she took that job because otherwise her daughter, they would have taken her daughter to be a whore.
Oh, interesting.
So she was a little older than me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was too young to be a whore at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom protected me,
Yeah.
you know, and this woman, her friend, protected that young
Her daughter.
Yeah, her
Yeah.
daughter, yeah.
So now did they have to come to you immediately after the occupation, or did it take a while before they realized, hey, we have to go into hiding, otherwise the Nazis are going to take us away?
They realized it very quickly. I
Yeah.
mean, we realized that very quickly that you had to hide from the Germans
Uh-huh.
if you didn't want to be taken.
So now
That's why I hate the Germans.
yeah, well, the Nazis, definitely the Nazis.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. the Nazis.
So now your mom and you took was it just a husband and wife, or was there the daughter as well? There was 3 of them?
Was there a husband?
Well, you said there was a couple. That
Then there
lived,
must have been a husband.
okay, so a husband, a
Oh
wife,
yeah,
and
a
a daughter.
husband that was very, but both had tuberculosis.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Both had tuberculosis,
Uh-huh.
and they didn't survive.
Oh, but you had them. Well, you were hiding them at one point,
We
right?
hid them for a while,
And what
then
was that
they went
like?
to another. Oh, when
Well, let's
we-
talk about when you were hiding them. You said yes, come here, and you guys had a secret room for them, or they were in the attic, or how did you do
Yeah,
that?
they were. There was like a. I remember there was like a turning stairway.
Spiral staircase.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a door, and those people were hiding behind
Upstairs.
upstairs.
Wow. So did the Nazis ever come into your house to look around, or they just?
Well, they did, but my mom managed to.
Point them the other direction.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, she
And
was
how long?
She was a clever woman.
Yeah. And how long did they live with you?
Those people.
Yeah.
Well, they had. That was a couple. That was a woman, an old woman, and she had a daughter.
Right.
She had a daughter.
And the
And
husband.
was there and a husband? Must have been a husband too.
Yeah.
Must have been a husband too. But I know they took off, and I never heard from them anymore.
Really? So how long were they with you? Like a week, a month?
From the beginning of the war.
Okay. So in May,
until
let's say
in
they.
May
Yeah, May of 1940.
until probably August.
Okay, so there's quite a few months with you, like 4 months or so.
Oh, at least. At
3 or 4
least.
months.
Yeah.
And now, did you have to? You shared your food with them?
Oh yeah, we shared our food. Yeah.
That awful food that you told us
That-
about.
I mean, it wasn't food. It was.
Yeah, really.
I mean that bread. But that's why when my mother started prostituting, that was to feed me,
Mm-hmm.
to feed me
Right.
and herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Uncle George at that particular point had taken a bicycle and took off. And he then started buying stuff on the black market,
Right.
like eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And what I forgot to tell. My Uncle George was adopted by a famous painter. And he had beautiful tableaus from that painter.
Mm.
And that is actually it saved us selling those.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing, huh?
So, okay.
This is what I remember.
Yeah. No, they're doing great.
It's good for my brain, right?
Yeah, really. So now now let's fast forward to
Wind it up.
early. So life goes on pretty much the same for the next 4 odd years, 4.5
No,
years.
but never normal.
Right, but it was the same sort of
Yeah,
life.
I know that we were hiding when I was very young. It was actually a lot of fun.
Well, you had the people when you were 12. You had the couple and their daughter up in your attic. Did you hide anybody else, or was that the only time that?
No, we hid some young people. We hid some young people, my friend and I, because I remember we had leather shoes and we took them off because we didn't want to use up the leather.
Oh.
So when there was warm weather, we would walk. But you see, that's another chapter.
Yeah.
That's another chapter.
But so the couple and their daughter was not the only Jews that you hid
No.
during the occupation.
No. And then I also went to that school and they asked me where I was and then they came and I said that I thought there was something in the cellar, which I never should have said.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Where there was a bicycle and coal.
Mm-hmm.
Coal.
Oh.
Coal.
Yeah.
That my mother had sneaked.
Mm-hmm.
It was there.
Yeah.
It's all very. It comes back, but
Right.
it takes time.
Well, let's talk. Let's wind up, and we'll go to the liberation was in early 1945.
Yeah, that was fun. That was.
So
fun.
tell me about that. You saw the American and the British.
Yeah, I was madly in love with Jimmy. Jimmy from
So you'd been
from Texas.
So you'd been 16 or 17.
I was 17 years old
Okay.
and madly in love with this young, handsome American soldier. And he was gone somewhere. And I sent letters to him. And he showed them to me eventually that he had received them all, a whole package of letters.
Wow,
But
that's
I
great.
didn't get his letters.
So now tell me about the day when the American and the British troops came rolling through down your street.
Oh my God,
What was that like?
That was like hip hip hooray. I mean, that was these Americans, especially the Americans, because the British were not as loaded with goodies. The Americans had chewing gum, which we haven't even seen in years.
Yeah.
Chewing gum, they had bars already,
Candy bars.
candy bars,
Yeah.
and they would give that to us.
Right.
And I remember I had a pretty little dress on, and they gave me and I had a little hat on. I mean, oh my God, yes, yes. I fell in love with Jimmy from something, Texas, Bridgeport, Texas.
How
Yeah,
about that?
see? I
That's
got it.
amazing.
Yeah, Jimmy from Bridgeport, Texas. And I received a letter from the mother of that young man
Of Jimmy.
saying that Jimmy was engaged
Oh,
and to leave
no.
Jimmy alone.
Oh, no. That's terrible.
That I remember
Oh,
too.
that's
Oh
fantastic.
my God, it's coming back slowly but
Yeah.
surely.
Now, how long did it take? One last question. How long did it take before things really got back to normal?
That came very quickly.
Did it? Okay.
That came very, very quickly.
Yeah.
For some reason, the shops started opening. Yeah, it was amazing.
Uh-huh.
First of all, we were fed by these soldiers,
Yeah.
which was wonderful.
Yeah.
And then my mother started fraternizing with those. And that's when we had that older lady, Jewish, with her two Jewish daughters. That was before.
So they came out of hiding,
They came.
obviously, at that point.
I can't remember seeing those again.
Yeah.
I remember her, the grandmother, the
Right.
mother or the grandmother. I
Yeah.
remember, but I don't. Maybe eventually it'll
Yeah.
click, you know.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Do you remember all that? Oh, yeah, she.
Nope, we have it right here.
Yeah, that's right.